going on? So I think it's actually good if you guys are able to unmute yourself, because I do want you to ask questions as we go. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Jared Cooper. I own a physical therapy practice right in Madison, New Jersey, and we developed a wonderful relationship with Game Changer and Rob probably sometime last year, I guess, if that seems about right. And it's been great partnership. Our job is to kind of keep you guys as healthy as possible so you can continue to work out and change the game of your life. And you know, you like that? You can steal that. That's a good tagline. And then you know, at the same time, you know, we do physical therapy, but we don't do fitness. So when people are done with physical therapy, we like when they go to Game Changer because we know that you guys stay safe and you do good workouts. So that's the relationship. And Rob asked me to come on. I know that you guys have a challenge that you're doing where you're supposed to do an online stretch workout. So hopefully you're not just here because you have to be, you're here because you want to be. But what we're going to do today essentially is we're going to go through a full body stretch. Some of it might feel a little bit hard for some of you. Some of it might feel easy. Either way, please work at whatever level feels right for you. Before I begin, are there any questions about what we're going to do today or anything that you need or anything like that? If so, speak now or forever hold your peace. You're good? Thumbs up? Can I get thumbs up? You guys can all see me good? Okay, cool. The one thing I will recommend is if you can't sit like this on the floor with your legs open like this, I would suggest one of two things. The first one is get a giant pillow and sit on the cushion. Or if you really can't get down on the floor at all, you can still do a lot of this stuff in a chair, but you will have to modify as best you can. So let us begin. So the first thing I want to do is I want to tap into our posture, because before you start any exercise or any stretch or anything like that, you must come to your center, you must come to your spine, you must find your core, you must go through these basic checkpoints every single time, and stretching is no different. So sitting in a cross-legged position, if you're on the floor, that's great. If you're on the pillow, good. If you're on a chair, no problem. Just put your feet flat on the floor, but make sure your hips are open. Place your hands on your knees. Good. Now, how tall are you? Just ask that question. So I'm about 5'6", I'm a shorty. What I want to do to get my posture is I want to grow to 5'7". Do that now. Grow an inch taller. Now grow to 5'8". Grow another inch taller. Good. Now go ahead and shrink back down again. Just relax. Now put your hands on your tummy. Okay. Now hopefully, if you're anything like me, you feel more than you want to be feeling right now, if you know what I'm saying. So what I want you to do is I want you to grow again, but this time feel what happens to your tummy as you get taller. Taller, 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 taller. What happens to your tummy? You get skinnier, don't you? Everything pulls in nice and tight. While you're stretching, I want you to maintain that feeling like your spine is getting taller, because you're always stretching in 3 dimensions. And this part of your belly will automatically pull in tightly if you think about getting taller. Now let's set our shoulders back, right shoulder back and down. Let it sit behind you. Left shoulder back and down, let it sit behind you. Good. Let's arrange our neck. So let's get the head straight. If you're looking at a computer, see if you can arrange it so your eyes are forward. And then pull your head back over your body. And then we're going to take 3 slow breaths. And every time you breathe in, I want you to feel that breath sink all the way down to the base of your being, kind of like you're trying to get that breath into the floor. Go ahead and inhale now. Exhale out. On the next inhale, try to expand your ribs and belly as big as you can. And slowly exhale out. And this time, one more time, expand even bigger. And exhale out. This time we're going to add the arms. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Deep breath in, stretch for the sky. Deep breath, reach. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Keep inhaling. Open all your fingers. Exhale down. 2 more times just like that. Inhale, reach up. Big reach. Open, stretch, all 10 fingers. Spine, stretch, stretch, stretch. Exhale down. 1 more time. Inhale up. Big stretch. Hands together. Exhale down. Good. Place your hands on your knees and slowly let your head fall down to your chest, and slowly roll your head to the right. Keep rolling it around in a circle, but listen carefully. Do not roll it behind you. Just change direction. So you're doing a 3/4 roll, rolling the head from one side to the other, but you're never really rolling it straight backwards. That is oftentimes uncomfortable because the back of the bones kind of start to rub against each other. And see if you can identify areas of more tightness in your neck. So as you roll, see if you can identify areas. So for me, this is a tighter area. I might pause there and breathe into it a little bit. Again, find your posture. Keep going. One more time. Some of you guys are still rolling your head backwards. Careful not to do that. And then come down the center and then bring your head straight up. Good. Look all the way to your right as far as you can. Look behind you. Look further with your eyes. Far enough until you get a stretch in the upper part of your neck. And then come back. And then the other side, same thing. Look over the other shoulder. As far as you can. A little further with the eyes. And come back. This time, place your hand on your cheekbone as you turn your head. Give yourself a little extra pressure to assist the rotation. Reset your posture. Get tall for me now. A little further with your eyes. And come back. And the other direction. Look. Press on the cheekbone a little bit. Maintain your posture. Think about this whole thing like your rotisserie chicken. You want to rotate your head and spine on axis of the rotisserie and not tilt in either direction. And then come back. Perfect. Place your left hand down on the ground behind you or just reach for the ground behind you and then tilt your head over to your right. Now, when you tilt your head over to your right, you're going to obviously feel a stretch over here on the side of your neck, but try not to collapse yourself into that stretch. Think about growing tall as you lean over. I call this going up and over the rainbow, not under the rainbow. Good. Now, staying in this position, tuck your chin down a little bit. If any of you guys get headaches, these 3 neck stretches that we just did are absolutely gold. Make sure to do them every day if you tend to get headaches. Come on back up. Switch hands. Reach for the ground with your right hand. Tilt your head to the left. You guys are looking good so far. Don't forget to smile, even if not on the outside. You're going to feel it in the corner of your cheeks. There you go. Bring your head down a little bit. Feel the stretch right up into the base of the neck. Those are your headache muscles. Good. And then slowly come back up. Hands on your lap. We're going to start to roll the upper body in a circle now. Go circle one way, come back up, and roll it the other way. Good. Now let's add our arms to this. So let your arms reach out, kind of brush the floor in front of you. Roll to one side, reach out, brush the floor, go to the other side. Same thing again. Reach out. If you're on a chair, no problem. Just go ahead and make this circle. Go a little further this time. This time I want you to pause over on your left side. Pause over on your left side and square up your body with the camera. Good. Take your right arm, reach it out to the side. Reach it up for the sky and over the top. We call this a half moon stretch. Now the key to getting a nice good half moon is not the top arm, it's the bottom arm. The bottom arm needs to be firmly planted into the ground. If you're sitting in a chair, you can take that bottom arm and place it on your leg. That's okay too. Push the bottom arm into the ground and see if you can press your butt bones down into the chair or into the floor. Now reach up a little higher for the sky and then go over the top. You're going to feel the stretch coming all the way down your side. Good. Now take that top arm. Let's swing it over the top to the other side and change. Very nice. This time your right arm is on the floor. Some of you guys are placing that right arm behind you. Don't do that. Place that right arm to the side of your body. There you go. Now, the bottom arm, please bend the elbow. Bend the elbow on the bottom arm and point that elbow towards your hip. Good. Now, a few of you guys have your head drop down. Don't do that. Find your head position. Make it an extension of your spine. You can think about your head as the top bone in your spine. Reach and breathe. Good. Now that we learned the stretch, let's get a good one on the other side again. Change. Reach over the top. Maintain that feeling of growing taller. Don't be 5'6", be 5'8". It's not saying much, right? Go from 5'6" to 5'8". I always wish I was somewhere in the area of like 5'9" or 5'10". That'd be good. Bruce Lee was 5'9". He's one of my heroes. That would have been okay. Reach up and over. Don't bend the top arm. Reach out the top arm. The top arm is straight. Good. And then slowly come back up. We're going to reach behind ourselves with the left arm and across ourselves with the right arm. That right arm is going to grab the outside of your thigh. Now, use the back hand to sit you up tall. Use the pressure from your back hand to sit you up tall. With your front hand, pull your entire spine into a rotation. And then look over your shoulder. You're going to feel this now in your mid-back. Thoracic spine mobility is very important for the health of your lower back and your neck. It's the junction between the two. Good. Come on back the other way. Change hands. Grab the outside of the thigh. The back hand pushes into the floor to sit you up. Do not lean into that back hand. The front hand pulls into the rotation. Then look further with your eyes. Notice this feels like the rib cage is getting tight. Breathe deeply into your rib cage. See if you can expand your rib cage in the rotation. Very nice. And the other way. One more time, quick stretch to the other side. Now that you understand the idea. Tall, rotisserie chicken. Good. Deep breath into your ribs. Pull with the front hand, push with the back hand. And one more time, other side. Now, if you are following me correctly, you should have your right hand behind you. If you're following me correctly, you should have your right hand behind you. Keep the right hand behind you. Take that left arm and swim backwards and place it behind you as well. Good. So now we have both of our hands planted on the ground behind us. Let's spread our fingers and plant those palms. Straighten out your arms and then lift your chest for the sky as tall as you can. If you want more stretch, walk your hands backwards. If you want less stretch, walk your hands forwards. Good. Very, very nice. If you're sitting on a big cushion, for this stretch, you can pop yourself off for a second like I did. Either way, it's fine. Bring the chest up nice and tall. Drop the chest all the way down. One more time. Lift your chest up nice and tall. Notice that the stretch is generated by your body, not what you're doing with your arms. And then walk your hands back to your knees. Perfect. Let's open and close the arms, get circulation back into those fingers. Very, very good. And now we're going to kind of hold it with one arm across the other. I think for you guys, let's go ahead and do that left arm first. One arm across. And we're going to grab the arm. Now, the way to grab the arm is take the other arm. It's going to be your right arm. You're going to swing it all the way under, all the way under, all the way. And then fold it and do a bicep curl. Good. Now, the top arm, the one that's being stretched, must be straight. Do not let that elbow bend. You will lose the effectiveness of the stretch. Lock that elbow all the way out. Good. Now, take your shoulders out of your ears. Bring your shoulders down and back. Bring your chest up. Bring your shoulders back. Bring your chest up. Bring your shoulders back. There you go. And then pull a little bit harder with that bicep curl. The stretch is in the back of your left shoulder. Let's change sides. Open and close the other way. Hook and pull. Good. I can tell Rob's got some tight shoulders. He's snarling as he does this one. Remember, if you guys have any questions, feel free to just unmute yourself and ask. Happy to answer in the middle. Good. One more time. Open and close. Good. Keep the top arm straight. Bottom arm folds as far as you can. Drop your shoulders. Lift your chest. Poof your chest through the stretch. Very nice. One more time. Open and close. Excellent. And relax down. Now the next stretch is a little harder to feel, but it's also a muscle we neglect to stretch a lot. And that is the rhomboids. Those muscles are between your shoulder blades. That's the area we all tend to get a lot of knots in when we do a lot of rows, bent over rows, pull-ups, that kind of thing. Take your left arm, reach it across and hook it onto your knee. Hook onto your knee. Good. Take your other hand, grab your wrist. Now, from that position, I literally want you to slouch as hard as you can. And then, keeping the arm straight, keep your left arm straight, I want you to pull your knee. Just pull it with your hand, just a little bit. There you go. You should feel if you slouched and then you pulled a little bit, but you kept your arm straight, you should feel the stretch in your upper back, right behind your shoulder blade. Very nice. Interesting stretch, interesting muscle to stretch. Good, let's come to the other side. Go ahead, take your right hand, grab your knee. Take your left hand, hold your wrist. Slouch like a champ. And then pull on your knee as you slouch, kind of like you're water skiing with your arms straight. And you'll feel that stretch right behind your shoulder blade. Good. And come on back up. Let's open the arms and place the hands together. Watch my hands now. I'm going to separate all my fingers as wide as they go. I'm going to put the hands in the center. I'm going to draw my thumbs down my chest and raise my elbows up the side at the same time. Thumbs come down, elbows come up until the base of your palm separates like this. And you're going to feel that stretch in your hands. This is great for those of us that are on Zoom calls all day, typing in our computer all day. Getting the forearm stretched out will prevent you from developing tennis elbow or golfer's elbow from weightlifting. Good. Now watch this. We're going to put the fingers together. We're going to flip the stretch upside down, and we're going to pull up. So your fingers are now facing your tail, and the base of your wrists are coming up towards you. Push your hands together. Lift up as high as you can until you get a stretch in your forearms. Good. You're going to open the hands out in front like this. One hand is going to grab the other and pull the fingers down towards the floor. Hold for a few seconds and release. And the other one, same idea. If you didn't like the first two stretches, this one's a good alternative. Very nice. And release. Let's rock forwards and backwards. And then if you can, rock forwards enough until you can come onto your hands and knees and scoot your feet behind you. If you have a cushion, you can get rid of it now. If you don't like kneeling on the floor, now's a good chance to get a pillow for yourself, something to place underneath your knees. I think I'm going to turn sideways. You guys can stay facing me wherever, especially your camera. I'm going to turn this way. I think it'll be easier for you to see. Awesome. Okay, from this position here, we're going to work into a cat-cow to stretch out the spine. So to get the position, what I want you to do is I want you to relax your head down, and I want you to lift your middle back towards the sky. Don't worry about how you're breathing yet. Now do the opposite. Look up like you're coming up from a breaststroke and you're going to take a breath, and let your ribs drop towards the floor so that your back is becoming arched, and bring your shoulders down. Do that again. Drop your head, but this time also focus on tucking your tail, and lift your middle back towards the sky. This time exhale. Now lift your head, lift your tail, let your ribs drop down, poof out your chest, inhale. Now let's put those together. Exhale, push with your hands, lift your mid-back, tuck your tail. Inhale, arch your back. Look up, breathe in. Exhale, round your back, push. Inhale, lift and arch, breathe in. Excellent. One more time. Good, and then return back to neutral. Just a flat back quadruped position, also called tabletop. Walk your toes back until you're in a full plank. Hold the full plank. If you can't hold the full plank, it's okay. Drop down to your knees, that'll be fine. From the full plank position, bring your left knee forwards and place it on the ground between your hands as far forward as you can comfortably get it. Good. If you're on your elbows, this might not work. You got to come up on your hands. Now take that front foot, which is going to be your left foot, and I want you to cross it in front of your body. Cross it in front of your body. And then I would like you to sit back and down a little bit until you get a stretch in your tush. Good. I'm kind of checking you guys out, making sure that you're following this one. This is what's referred to as pigeon pose in yoga. If you have trouble doing this at all, it's totally okay to sit down and lean forward. So if you need to, sit on your butt and lean forward. If you want to get the full experience, stay hovered a little bit and sit down into your plank. That's the idea. Let's see if I can turn sideways a little bit. Maybe you guys can see that a little bit better. So we're here. Very good. A couple of deep breaths in this position. Keep the arms straight. Good. And then go ahead and take a seat on the floor. Now, when you take a seat on the floor, orient yourself so you're still facing your camera, and you're going to want that left leg out in front of you and the right leg behind you. The left leg out in front of you and the right leg behind you. That front leg is bent 90 degrees. The back leg is bent 90 degrees. Perfect. Good. Most of you got that. Now, notice that you want to lean on your left arm. That's cool. Go ahead and do that. But instead of leaning on the arm, I want you to push off the arm to get your body up taller. Instead of leaning on it, I want you to push off of it to get your body up taller. That's it. Stephen, do we buy the shirt in the same store, by the way? You and I are dressed like exactly the same. Okay. So push off that and sit up nice and tall. From this position now, I want you to slowly tilt your spine forward until you get a stretch in your left hip. Do not round your back. Just tilt forward with your spine as flat as you can until you feel a stretch in your left hip. Perfect. Who's that? Anthony, sit up a little bit, bud. Get that spine straight. There you go. Good. Now from there, lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back until you get a stretch in the other hip. In a little bit of a different spot. Right now, you have the stretches in the front of the hip. Good. Now do that again. Lean forward, reposition your hands as needed. Place them on the ground as needed. Good. And then lean back. Walk your hands back a little bit. This is working internal hip mobility and external hip mobility. So important for things like tennis and golf, any rotational sport. This is super important. Really important for doing twists, medicine ball throws, those kinds of things in the gym. Chops, you need to have internal and external hip rotation. Excellent. Then come back a little bit. Now watch this. We're going to take the right leg, the back leg, and we're going to swing it out to the side and then pull the front foot in and tuck it so we're kind of sitting in this position. If this is really hard for you to sit and you've got that cushion, you can grab that cushion, just throw it underneath your butt cheek and kind of prop yourself up. That works okay too. Excellent. Now that we're here, again, what are we going to do? You keep hearing me say it. Find your posture. We worked on that in the beginning. How do you get posture? Grow taller. 5'6", 5'7", 5'8". Good. Now from this tall position, turn your body towards your right leg a little bit, keeping your spine as flat as you can, tilt forward towards the right leg. Now I feel the stretch right here. I don't feel the need to go any further. I could go further by cheating and doing this, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep my body upright and drive my right hip down and back rather than bringing my upper body forwards and downwards. When you pull that hip back and down into the socket, that's what is going to increase the stretch, but keep it out of your lower back. Good. To release the stretch, lean back a little bit. I'll give you a break. Then one more time. Find your posture, up and over, keeping your body as flat as possible, keeping your spine as straight as possible. Very nice. And then return. Perfect. Now that left leg is tucked in, right? That's the one that's tucked in. I want to keep that one tucked in. I want to bring it around to the front a little bit. So the knee is kind of pointing towards the camera here. Just bring it around to the front a little bit. Now watch this, the free leg. Watch this now, the free leg. Bring it up and over that leg, kind of like a crisscross position. Very good. So if you're following me correctly, this is your right leg, the one that's here. Identify that this is the right leg. If you know this is the right leg, you're doing good. Okay, sit up nice and tall. Good. Okay, now take your left arm, reach it out and wrap it all the way around. Now, some of you are going to be able to do this. You're going to hook your elbow and your knee together. You're going to hook it. Yeah. And then you're going to take the other hand, you're going to grab your wrist like you're going to do a suplex on your own knee. And you're going to sit up really tall and you're going to give yourself a hug. And when you do, that's right, Rob, you got it in the butt, buddy. That's it. Now, some of you are like, I can't hook my leg like that. No problem. You're going to hook it like this. And you just interlock your hands and you pull this way. Some of you are like, I can't even sit up in this position. That's okay too. Just do what you can. Excellent. We call this the pretzel for obvious reasons. All right. Good. This stretch, by the way, any of you guys ever get that piriformis syndrome or buttock pain or any kind of sciatica type stuff? Go to this. Try it. If it works, golden, don't call me. If it don't work, call me. All right, we're going to take that top leg. We're going to swing it out, and we're going to swing it all the way around to the back, and we're going to get back to our plank position. We're going to do this sequence on the other side. See if you can come back to that plank. I'll wait for you guys to get there. Perfect. Good. We're going to do the right knee this time. That right knee is going to come up and forward. Place it on the ground as far forward as you can get it. Don't put the foot on the floor, put the knee on the floor. And then you're gonna move that right foot across your body as far as you can. So your foot is positioned kind of under your left shoulder. Good. Now, all you gotta do to get the stretch is just wiggle your back foot back a little bit and sit a little bit towards your back foot. That will produce the stretch in the buttock. If this is impossible for you to do, then just sit on the floor and do it. Otherwise, try to hang out with me right here. Once again, find your spine. Good. Excellent. Lou, is it Lou or Karen? If you're doing this in your car, that would be really impressive. Looks like that's where you are. Pigeon pose in a vehicle, make sure that vehicle's not moving. Excellent. All right, guys, from this position here, we're gonna drop down into that 90-90 stretch. So drop into your hip, move the front foot forward and the back leg back. So this is 90, this is 90. I'm gonna turn this way so you guys can see me. Good, so we're here, right? Front leg open in the 90, back leg closed in the 90. Look at the angle, check the angle, 90, 90. Behind you, in front of you. Now this time your right arm, that's your posting arm. Push that into the floor. Notice if I don't push this arm into the floor, what happens to my posture? See, I want to drop my rib drops down on this side, push into the ground, lift yourself up. If you need to, you can take that same pillow, tuck it underneath your butt. Takes a little bit of the aggressiveness off the stretch, makes it a little bit easier to do. And this stretch, I don't need that, so I'm gonna get rid of that guy right there. Now, keeping your spine as straight as you can, remember, get tall, go ahead and start to tilt your body over the front leg. Walk your hands forward as needed until you start to get a stretch in that front hip. Good. Find your spine again, and now find some deep breaths right into that front hip. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, by the way, I'm also on 2 screens. So if you're missing me on one screen, you can grab me on the other. I'll tilt that camera down a little bit. Good, then slowly lean back. Walk your hands back. Keep leaning back. Lean back some more. Lean back some more. Recline, recline, recline until you feel the stretch in the other hip. This back leg, that's stretching into internal rotation. The one in the front, that's external rotation. Rotation is so important in the hips. Good, then lean forward again. One more time on either side. See if you can get a little deeper this time. Again, find your spine, breathe, work into it. And then one more time, lean back. Posture up, lean back. Use your posting arm. Remember that posting arm? Push it into the floor. That's the key to being able to hold yourself up while you do this. Beautiful. All right. Now remember, the front leg, keep it there. Just tuck it in a bit. Just tuck it in a bit. The back leg, swing it around, and crisscross it over that front one. Give it a crisscross. So if you are following me correctly, you tap that front leg. That should be your left knee. If that's not your left knee, my next cue is going to confuse you. So just make sure that that is your left leg, and the one on the bottom is your right leg. Wrap it up nice and tight. You should feel like a pretzel. You should be like, somebody eat me, I'm a pretzel. Okay, take the right arm, reach it out. You're gonna reach it all the way around and hook the elbow onto the knee. If you're like, dude, you're crazy, I can't do that. That's okay, grab with your hand. Okay, now with the other hand, grab your wrist. Give that knee a hug and sit up, sit up. Sitting up is how you get the butt stretch, not pulling that knee in. There you go. Kind of like you're gonna suplex that knee. Nice and tall. Hug a little tighter, breathe. Drop your shoulders. You don't need that tension in your neck. It's just extra. Don't be extra. Good, relax a little bit to release the stretch. And pull in one more time. Excellent. And then slowly release. Stay in this position because we're gonna use that top leg again. We're gonna take that top leg and we're gonna send it out to the side. Perfect. Take the other leg and tuck it in nice and tight. You should almost have your right foot touching your left inner thigh. If you're like, dude, I can't get there, it's okay. You can keep it out here, but aim to pull that guy in as far as you can. Now, a lot of you, when you get into this position, just like me, here's what happens. It's hard to hold yourself up, right? So remember the posting arm? Put that posting arm on the floor and push into the ground to sit yourself up a little bit. Again, notice how that saves my posture? Boom. If you have flexible hamstrings, you're like, what are you talking about? I don't need to do that. But if you have inflexible hamstrings, this arm is key. Now turn yourself a little bit towards the leg you're gonna stretch, that's the left side, and keeping your spine straight, start to tilt in that direction. Tilt as far as you want until you get a stretch in the back of your left leg, but don't sacrifice your spine position to do it. If you want to, you can take both of your hands and grab your foot, the one that's closer to you, the one that's closer to you. That'll help to pull you up into the position. You can use that leg as leverage to sit you up and then turn to get the stretch. Good. And then lean back a little bit to release the stretch. Then we're going to go in one more time, sit up, use the post, turn, grab the foot if you need to, and then tilt your body forward until you get a stretch in the left hamstring. Very, very nice. Fabulous. Okay, we're going to take that leg that's out, that's the left leg, we're going to swing it to the back if we can, and we're going to come back up to our all fours position. If that was complicated for you, no worries, just arrive in all fours. Good. Okay, from this position here, we're going to work into a down dog position and an up dog position. Don't do it yet. I'm going to demonstrate. What we're going to do is we're going to be lifting our hips up in the air, kind of back into here, and then we're going to be slowly dropping our pelvis down, but we're not going to rest on the floor. And then we're going to be lifting up again. If you're like, dude, I can't do that, that's way too hard, then you're going to go from the knees and you're going to work back into a child's pose rock. So it's back and up, back and up. So if you can do the down dog, up dog, perfect. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just work into the child's pose. So to work in a down dog, up dog, tuck your toes underneath. I'm going to turn sideways so you guys can see. Tuck your toes. The toes have to be tucked underneath. And now go ahead and slowly walk your feet back into plank, but keep the plank very short. So it's not a long plank like this. It's a short plank. And I want your knees bent. And I want you to keep your spine straight as you lift your hips up in the air. I do not want you to round your spine just to get your legs straight. I want you to keep your knees bent to keep your back straight. It's not important if your legs are straight. It's important if your back is straight. Now shift your body forward, lock your legs, and lift your chest up towards the sky, lowering the pelvis only as far as you can. Do not bend your knees. Do not bend your knees. Now push with your hands. Lift your hips towards the sky. Bend your knees a little bit. Chest to toes. Good. Forward again, back to up dog. Lock your legs. Do not bend your knees. Perfect. Let's do one more. This is hard. This can be an exercise all on its own. Sit back, push, bend your knees a bit, arch your back, push with your hands, drop your chest. Good. One last time, up dog. Yes. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to lower ourselves down nice and slow to the ground. Very good. Prop yourself up on your elbows. Kind of chilling out here so you guys can still see me. There we go. How are we doing so far? Thumbs up, guys? We doing okay? Let me see thumbs up in the camera. If I don't see a thumbs up, I'm going to assume that you are either passed out or didn't hear me. Okay, good. From this position here, what I want you to do is push down through your elbows. Push down through your elbows. Push down through your elbows and lift your chest. For some of you, you might be thinking, this is really uncomfortable. This should not be uncomfortable. If this is uncomfortable, you spend too much of the day slouching, and so the ability to extend your spine has gotten challenging. It should be just as easy to extend as it is to flex, at least to this degree. Drop your chest. Do that one more time. Lift up and stretch a little bit. Good. And then lay all the way down. Send your right arm overhead like a pillow. Send your right arm overhead. Put your head down on your bicep. Excellent. Go to sleep. No, just kidding. Okay, bring your left knee up to the side. Left knee up to the side, just like this. Maybe I can turn sideways. You guys can see me a little better. There you go. Okay, left knee up to the side. Okay, in physical therapy, we call this position the calendar model position. Just kidding, it's not a technical term. I want you to bend your right knee. I want you to take your left hand. It's the one you're not lying on. I want you to reach back and grab your foot. Yes. And then I want you to pull your toes towards your butt. And I want you to squeeze your right butt cheek. If you did this correctly, you now feel an enormous stretch in your right quad. Very nice. Head relaxed. Squeeze the butt. Press the hip into the floor. The other knee is pulled up towards your chest. You're breathing. Go a little further with that foot. One long, deep stretch on this one since it's hard to get in and out of. Excellent. Now drop your right foot. Turn onto your side a little bit more to face me. Watch this now. Bring both of your knees towards your chest. Bring both of your knees towards your chest. Excellent. Now take your top leg, bring it back in behind you and grab your foot. Now I'm going to show you a hack. This is the quad stretching hack. This was worth the price of admission for this one hack right here. When you're stretching your quad on your side, take your other foot, put it on the front of your knee, and push. Ooh, that just made the stretch way better. Yes, exactly. That's how you take a normal quad stretch. If your hamstring's cramping, you're trying to use your hamstring too much, make sure to grab your foot and pull. Don't arch your back. There it is, much better. Very good. And slowly release. Go ahead and just lay all the way down on your tummy and turn onto the other side. I'm gonna reorient myself so you guys can still see me. Okay, left arm overhead, that's your pillow. Right knee comes up and forward, place it on the ground, calendar model position. Left leg, left knee, bend it. That foot, by the way, should be facing the ceiling at this point in time. Right hand, reach back, grab the foot. Pull the foot towards your butt. Squeeze your left butt cheek hard. Good. If you're holding your head up to watch me, we're in the stretch now. You can put your head down on your arm. Try to flatten that hip down. Flatten that hip down, the left hip. Flatten it into the floor. That's what gives you the nice quad stretch. If you ever get any anterior knee pain, that's pain under your kneecap or in front of your knee from exercising or running, 9 out of 10 times, it's because the muscle that we're stretching right now is too tight. So this stretch is for you. Excellent. Let the top leg go. Good. Turn all the way onto your side and bring both of your knees up towards your chest. Well done. We're here. Take the top leg now, bring it behind you and grab it with your hand. Go into a normal quad stretch rather than a crossed quad stretch, which is what we were just in. And now let's add the power hack here. Take the bottom leg, bring the foot up and place it on your thigh. Good. Take that foot and assist the pressure to pull that leg further behind you to increase the stretch in the long quad muscle. We're stretching a muscle called the rectus femoris and the quads. The quads have 4 muscles. The long one's the rectus femoris. That's the one that gives you the knee aggravation in the front of the knee when you get. Very, very nice. 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and release. Bring your knees up to your chest. So stay on your side, bring your knees up to your chest. Perfect. What I want you to do now is if you have a pillow, tuck it under your head. If you don't have a pillow, it's okay. What I want you to do now is take the bottom arm, that's gonna be your left arm if you followed me so far, and place that bottom arm on top of your knees. Your knees are to your chest, your bottom arm is on top of your knees. I'll wait for you guys to grab that pillow. Some of you grab the pillow. Okay, the top arm, I want you to put it on top of the bottom arm like you're making a little sandwich. Now we're gonna take that right arm, we're gonna reach it up for the sky, leading with your thumb, and up and back to the corner. Not to your side, not overhead, out to the corner. When you arrive here, you should feel a stretch in your chest. The right chest muscle should get a stretch if you are doing this correctly. Not out to the side, not overhead, halfway between, rotate and open. Good, then come back all the way. Tap your sandwich and open again. Nice. Inhale, rotate, reach, big chest stretch. A little bit of a lower back stretch. Come back, tap your sandwich. One more time, open as far as you can. Good, check this out. From this position here, we're gonna take that arm, we're just gonna reach behind our back. Kind of reach behind your back, flow it down, reach for your backside, then turn onto your side, face me. That top arm should now be behind your back. See if you can reach up to scratch your shoulder blade. Should be pretty hard to do. Just reach up to scratch your shoulder blade. Now plant your shoulder there and get your shoulder back. Get your shoulder back. You will now feel a stretch in that shoulder. This stretch, hand behind back, is what you need to fasten your bra, wipe your butt, scratch your backside, clean your backside, and do dips. This is also internal rotation necessary to do things like dips. Good. Let's go ahead and release that arm. That was beautiful. Let's roll to the other side. We're going to do the open book the other way. So I'm going to flip. You guys don't have to flip around. I'm flipping just so I face the camera, okay? You might have to do that too so you can see me. Bring both of your knees towards your chest. You should be almost in a fetal position. The bottom arm goes on top of your knees. The top arm goes on top too. You now have a sandwich. Turn your thumb up towards the sky. Lead with the thumb. Reach with the thumb. Up and back to the corner. You'll notice that the arm is moving in the angle exactly opposite where it was. It stays on that trajectory, on the diagonal. Good. And then slowly come back. This time you're going to feel the stretch, if you're following me, in your left chest. Open again. Reach with the thumb. Reach with the fingers. Remember posture? Guess what? It still applies when you're lying on your side. Find your spine. Straighten yourself out. Get taller. Now find your breath. Deep breaths into your rib cage. Come back to your sandwich. That's why we practice that first in the beginning, to get really good at it before we started to move. Good. This time, stay there for a second, and then let your arm come towards your butt. Let your elbow bend. Turn back onto your side, and reach for your shoulder blades. Now take your shoulder, which wants to pop forward, and roll it backwards in the socket. And that will give you a stretch in that shoulder. That is perfect. Check my cheat sheet here. Good. All right, we're coming towards the last couple of stretches. Good. From here, just go ahead and lay on your back. Open and lay on your back. If you have a pillow, it's behind your head. That's perfect. Drop your left leg down. Bring your right knee to your chest. Don't use your hands yet. Don't use your hands yet. Now interlock your hands behind your leg as close to your knee as you can. Now pull that thigh towards you until it bottoms out, but then back off a little bit so there's no compression in the front of your hip. And now slowly extend your leg up for the ceiling, like you're reaching your toes for the sky, not your heel for the sky. Again, your toes for the sky, not your heel. Don't pull your toes back yet. If you're super flexible, you can straighten your leg. If you're not, please do not even attempt to do so. You should feel the stretch already. The left leg, try to flatten it down to the floor. The left leg, flatten it down to the floor. Good. Now let's pump the ankle on the top. Back and forth with the ankle. Toes to shin, toes to ceiling. Toes to shin, toes to ceiling. Do it a few times. Very nice. Excellent. And now we're going to move into the second version of the butt stretch. So if you didn't get the first one, you're going to get this one. Bend your bottom knee. Take your top leg and crisscross it all the way over as far as it'll go. Now uncross it a little bit so there's a little triangle space between your legs. Not a big triangle, a little triangle. Even littler. Good. Now with your left hand, if you're following me, this is your right knee, not your left, your right knee. Take your left hand, grab your ankle, the one that's closer to you, and pull it a little bit tighter across. Now, do not use either of your hands. Bring your knees towards your chest. Now, with your left hand, grab the ankle that's closer to you. With your right hand, grab the knee that's closer to you, and hug everything up towards your chest. Very nice. You should feel this in your right buttock. Perfect. Hold for 10 seconds. Breathing and relaxing. 3, 2, 1. And slowly release. Uncross that top leg. Lay your right leg down flat. Good. Bring your left knee to your chest. Don't use your hands. Now, interlock your hands behind your knee, high up as you can go. Pull your knee towards your chest until it just about bottoms out. And then raise your foot towards the ceiling. Raise your foot towards the ceiling. Good. Reach with your toes, not your heel. Now your right leg, the other leg, try to straighten it out into the ground. That'll prevent you from rounding your back too far as you stretch your hammy. Now pump your ankle. Back and forth. Back and forth. Back and forth. Perfect. Nicely done, folks. Deep breaths. Smile on the inside, even if I can't see it. Good. Stay here. Let the leg relax a bit. Bend your other knee. Now crisscross over top. With your right hand, grab your ankle and pull it a little bit more across with a small space between your legs. Small space between your legs. Now don't use your hands. Bring your knees up to your chest as far as they'll go without your hands. Then with your right hand, grab the ankle that's closer to you. With your left hand, grab the knee that's closer to you and pull everything up towards your right shoulder. If you notice, you can use the right knee, the one that's on the backside, to assist the stretch by bringing that towards your chest too. Perfect. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slowly release. Hands out by your side. Uncross your knees, but keep them bent. Knees together. Just rock your legs left and right about 6 inches. Just tick-tock back and forth. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Very nice. Roll onto your side to face your camera. And go ahead and come on back up to a seated position. Please find yourself in the crisscross applesauce. The very start of our workout started here. We're also going to finish here. So come on back to this position here. Good. Hands on your knees. Posture up. Inhale, arms out to the side. Reach for the sky. Big stretch. Exhale, reach the arms down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Big stretch. Hands together. Just bring your hands slowly in front of your chest. And we're just going to settle here for a moment. Relax your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your jaw, relax your eyes. I'm going to get a tap into to feel, what do you feel right now? How do you feel now compared to when you started? Slow down your breath a little bit. One more deep breath in as a group. Inhale. And exhale with a sigh. You're all muted. Do it out loud. Do it again. Inhale. Exhale with a sigh. Good. Thank you very much, guys. You were fabulous. I am now going to take questions. And I can take questions about anything about stretching or any personal issue you're having in terms of aches or pains or anything like that. I'm happy to answer them for you. Just go ahead and unmute yourself. And I'd love to just hear what your thoughts were about the stretch and how it felt and everything as well. So take 2 minutes to just do that. And if you guys have any additional questions, I'm sure Rob will probably send a follow-up email. We'll try to get the video out to you. Is that right, Rob?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then my contact information will be there as well if you guys want to reach out if you have any aches or pains that you have questions about. But
I got a question, Doc.
Yes.
This last time and this time, whenever we're really focusing on sitting up tall, my upper back just gets on fire. What am I really weak up here? What do I need to do? Help me.
So to figure out whether or not the reason that you've got that kind of feeling when you're trying to do that is to ask the question, how much real strength does it actually take to sit up? And the answer is not very much, right? If you can deadlift, let's say 75 pounds, you've got enough upper back strength to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start to burn when you're there, it's more likely to be a mobility problem, not a strength problem.
Gotcha.
Then the question is, where's the mobility problem? Is it in your upper back? In other words, are you stuck a bit here? And to get here requires you to use so much muscular effort that your muscles start to burn. Or are you stuck in your hips and sitting up is hard? So again, you have to use more muscular effort to sit up. The way to answer that question is, if you have flexible hips, it's probably your upper back. So the other way to do it is if you lay flat, Rob, when you lay flat like this, when you lay flat and you put your head on the floor, does your nose face the ceiling or does your chin tend to pop up in the air? The higher the chin tends to pop up in the air, the stiffer your upper back is. And the intervention for that is to work on T-spine extension mobility by doing the lay back, but over a towel roll or a foam roller or something to get the mobility to make it easier to sit up. Then when you sit up, guess what? The muscles don't have to work nearly as hard, and so they won't burn.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Sense.
I was going to say this because you're yelling at us all the time.
I don't yell. I just speak with an authoritative voice.
I like that. Good. Any other? How did you guys feel with this? Anybody want to share any feedback about really, which stretches you liked, which you didn't? What if you struggled with any of the stretches? Yoga. Is that Steven?
Yeah, it was kind of like yin yoga. You know, like holding stretch poses. I've been doing yin yoga, which is the opposite of power yoga, and it was like that because you hold those stretches even longer in yin yoga. It's really good. I love Pilates, so we can't go to Pilates right now, so this is really good.
Yeah, there's different modes of stretching, right? I mean, we could give them brand names like yoga or, PNF or, people brand things. Everybody brands things. Yoga's a brand name. We don't know whose brand it is. It's too old for us to know whose brand it is, but it's still a brand. But there's really only 4 kinds of stretching. There's static stretching, or I should say there's passive stretching, where you're using no effort whatsoever. Then there's active stretching, where you're actively moving yourself into a position. There's a stretching in between called resistive stretching, where as you're stretching, you're actually resisting. That's called an eccentric stretch. And then there's dynamic stretching, where you're kind of actually moving through the position, right? Dynamic warm-ups are very popular. I'm pretty sure you guys do a dynamic warm-up, a game changer, right? So dynamic warm-ups are great before a workout, but they're not great for improving flexibility. And the reason is you don't stay in the stretch long enough to allow for tissue adaptation to occur. Tissue adaptation is the key to long-term changes in flexibility. But dynamic movements are the key to warming up before you do something that involves flexibility. So they have different functions. So what we did today was more of the sort of like passive static stretching approach, primarily because it's very difficult through this environment for me to do dynamic stuff all over the place. This works really nice. I can watch you guys and watch what you're doing. But there's no right or wrong way to stretch. That's like saying that a screwdriver or a hammer are better or worse than one another, which is obviously false. They're not better or worse. They just serve different functions. So yin yoga, which is the brand name for passive static stretching, which is the descriptor of what you're doing, is designed to allow tissue to melt and adapt and change. Whereas active stretching where you're actively doing something, is good for turning the muscle on that does the movement. And dynamic stretching is good for getting you ready to work out, because you don't want to do passive stretching before you work out. You put your muscles to sleep. So they all serve different functions. Today was more along that yin yoga line, but there's many different ways to stretch. And it's important to understand that depending upon what's going on with your body, a different mode might be better for different people at different times for different problems.
Right. Well, it's a lot better than 35 years ago when we just would go from cold to hot right away with nothing, no dynamic. It was awful. So. Right,
exactly. Moving in the right direction.
So, Dr. Cooper, a question for you. So, yes. In this kind of exercise we just did, do they strengthen the muscles too, or is just like, what you describe as yoga? Do you get, just the stretch, or it strengthens the muscles when you do?
I don't know that I would necessarily use the word strength.
Okay.
Because in order to develop strength, a certain amount of external load is required to make a muscle bigger.
Okay.
Right? To grow a muscle. I would call it activating. In other words, waking the muscle up and turning it on. If I want to turn on your posture muscles in the back, I have you do an active chest stretch. And when you do this, you will feel your muscles in the back turning on and in the front stretching open. Okay. So active mobility does that. Now, not all the stretches we did were active. Some were completely passive, where you just kind of hang out. Some you actually were activating in the position. But the only way that you could ever really call that strength is if you're so weak that the stretch itself causes the adaptation of strength. But if you have a baseline level of strength, this really isn't enough load to really, really improve your strength, because the body, people don't really understand in general. It's not your fault. I didn't understand it for a long time, how the body really works. And the body is a response machine. In other words, it's designed to respond and adapt to the environment, and evolution has decided that. And so if it's designed to respond and adapt, it means it's 100% sensitive to the input that you select.
Yes.
So whatever input you select will drive the adaptation. And what adaptation you need depends upon where your imbalances are and what your strengths and weaknesses are. So it will improve strength in somebody who starts out really weak, but it will not improve strength in somebody who's already pretty strong.
But it balances out by, again, the kind of stretches that we did today, you know, it balances out the strengthening, right? Is that after the strength, the muscle benefit from the stretch.
Exactly. Now, I can't say that for sure because there are some of you watching this video who are actually too flexible in certain muscles. And it's just as bad to be too flexible as it is to be not flexible enough. It's kind of like if you were trying to use a rope and you were trying to tie somebody up, you don't want it too tight or too loose. You need the right amount of tension to stop them from moving, but not so much that you choke them to death. Muscles are the same thing. You actually need to have a certain degree of stiffness in a muscle because that stiffness produces what's called stability. And stability creates safety when you work with it. I don't want my shoulder completely loose when I'm doing an overhead press. I need some amount of stiffness in that shoulder to permit the joint to be stable. But I also want enough mobility in the muscles and the joint to permit the movement. It's not you want this or that. It's you want this and that. And if you have only this and not that, you're at risk for injury. Or if you have only this and not that, you're at risk for injury, because movement requires a balance between motion or mobility and strength or stability. And that balance, believe it or not, was ingrained in things like yoga and got lost when it became Americanized. And so yoga originally had a yin and yang component all the time. But because
Yes.
we're absolutists here in America, we go power yoga, yang, yin yoga, passive. The reality is yoga or stretching or whatever you want to call it should always have a balance of the two, or you do yin yoga here, strength here, and those two things balance each other out. But you must have a balance between both in your workouts, and you must know your body. I cannot stand when I see people with ridiculously flexible things stretching those flexible things because they think they're good at it. That's not the idea. You want to have a healthy body, you need things to be flexible enough to accomplish the task, but not too flexible that you lose your stability.
Oh, that helps so much. That and I now I understand, you know, misconception about the yoga. Yes.
Yeah,
It's the
awesome.
kind
I can
of
explain the
yoga-
mysteries of the universe too while we're at it if you want. Any other questions or things that have been duping you or things that you guys have been wondering about?
I have a question
About,
about hamstrings.
Let's see who's talking here. Oh, hi. Okay. Who's that?
So, if you have really tight hamstrings, is there any way to get them to be a little bit more flexible? Because I can't, like, necessarily, one leg is worse than the other, like, completely straighten it without it being in pain.
Let me ask you a question before I answer that question. Which hamstring is it?
My left one.
Do you get any aching in your buttock or your lower back on that side as well?
Not necessarily.
Are you sure?
Well, yes. When I'm trying to do that, yes. Yes.
Okay, so where do you feel it, in your back or your butt?
In my butt more.
Okay, do you get any back pain in general?
Not necessarily. If I walk like over 4 miles, yes, but not in general.
Okay, so you can get back pain if you walk for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
And you get some buttock pain as well.
Yeah.
So 9 out of 10 times, a asymmetrical mobility problem in a hamstring, it'll only ever really occur in one of 2 instances. One of 3 instances. Okay. Wait, which hamstring is tight?
The left one.
Which are you right-legged or left-legged? What would you kick a soccer ball with?
I'm right.
Okay, so the instance number one that would cause that is leg dominance. So if you're right leg dominant and your right leg is stronger than your left one, you will develop stiffer muscles on that side because thicker rubber bands are stiffer than thinner rubber bands, right? But this is not your case because you're stiff on your non-dominant side, true?
Yeah.
Okay. The second most common cause of this type of thing is if you engaged in an activity that caused one side to become flexible. A good example is people who dance or do hurdles, where one leg is always in the front doing something where there's an adaptation that occurs by accident. Okay?
Okay.
Possibility three, there's actually four. Possibility three is you incurred an injury to your left side, which caused the muscle to get weak at some point in time. So if you had a bad ankle sprain, or you have knee pain, or something like that, and you lost muscle strength, on your right side, the side that's more flexible, and you lost muscle strength on the right side, so now it's more flexible. Or number four, which is the most common cause, which is it's not your muscle. You have a muscle, you have something that runs down the back of your leg called your sciatic nerve. And you don't have to have sciatica to have adverse tension in that nerve. And when you do a hamstring stretch, most of that discomfortable feeling you feel in the back of your leg, especially if you would describe it as pain, it's not the muscle stretching. What you're feeling is the nerve trying to stretch. The nerve runs all the way down your leg. And that's why when you do it, you feel it up in your buttock and sometimes in your back, because it's more likely to be an annoyed nerve that probably doesn't even like to be stretched versus a muscle.
Okay.
The only way for me to tell you what to do about it is for me to first figure out what's causing it and what it actually is. Because I can guarantee you the body does not go out of balance for no reason. The body doesn't just fall out of balance.
Yeah.
It's put out of balance by something. And if we don't figure that out, I can't tell you how to solve the problem.
Well, I did have issues with my right knee, and I had shots and everything. And then he said, because I used to run, and then I was having such bad knee pain in my right knee, he's like, well, if you don't want to ever have knee replacement surgery, don't run anymore. So I don't run anymore, but I do a lot of walking and a lot of hiking and whatever. But I noticed that, you know, in general, my both hamstrings are tight, but one is more than the other.
Okay, so you're probably in that third category I mentioned, which is you have an injury on the other side.
Yeah.
If you were even told to stop running, you've got enough of a I'll put it in quotes, bad knee, that you probably have weakness on that right hamstring and probably the right quad as a result of that. In which case your left leg is overworking now, and that's why it's getting tight.
Okay.
In which case, how are we going to get the left hamstring more flexible? We actually have to go to the other side, in addition to stretching your left side, and actually strengthen your right side. Because I would bet you there's weakness on the right side that's actually participating in this asymmetry.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yep. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Last chance? Going once? Going twice? Awesome. Cool. You guys were awesome. I love working with you. You guys are such good sports. Oh, Steve, did you have a question or are you just saying goodbye?
Oh, it was very nice. Thank you.
Awesome. Peace out,
Thank
guys.
you so
Rob,
much.
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
See you guys. Logging off.
For joining, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Robert.
Bye.
Hey, Rob, thanks so much, buddy.